This
Welcome
conference
to
will
the
now be
first of
recorded.
two Meet the Candidates. We are going to get started. I mess with this mic a little bit. So we're going to introduce the candidates, then we're going to go through some questions, and then we're going to open it up for the audience to ask questions and answer. So if, John, you want to start us off, introduce yourself, and what makes you the best candidate for the board of directors?
Hi, can you hear me? So I'm John Chilcote, lot 2171, and we also have the 2170 right next door, so we got this little compound. So the grandkids can really run from one to the other, and it's with joy. So why am I the best candidate? I might not be the best candidate. It's up to you. But let me just say that you are blessed to have 5 really good candidates. I mean, I met everybody here. I would be proud to work with all of them in the future if they're elected, and I'll support them. And so it's up to you who you want to represent you. I think we're all blessed to be in this community, and I have a heart of gratitude. And when your heart's filled with gratitude, you don't have much room for worry and stress and strife. You just look at things from a different point of view. And so I try to do that in my life. If you think that I'm going to be, I'm from the Villas, and if you think I'm going to represent the Villas, and especially people here might be from the Villas, please don't vote for me, because you're going to be disappointed. There's 10 sections here, and I'll represent all 10 equally. And if you think I'm on one side or the other of the friction that's going on right here, right now, don't vote for me, because you'll be disappointed. I want to be a peacemaker. I want us to come back together again. We have so much to be grateful for here. We live in Disneyland for adults, so let's enjoy it together and prepare for the future.
Thank you, John. Marla?
Is it on? Okay. Marla Festanese, resident since 2022. And I feel I'm the best candidate. I don't really have a reason other than I'm willing to be transparent. As with John, I want to be a peacemaker, and I want to take and make a more cohesive neighborhood. We have almost gotten, it's so sad to see in such a beautiful 55+ community to see it going, everybody fighting at one another, and it makes me sad. I decided to run because of the shorter terms to kind of give an idea of what would it be like to be on the board. I do have ideas about changing certain things, but the one thing is I want people to be, I am transparent. I want people to be able to come to me, talk to me, and feel like they can without being disrespected. Okay. I am a cat owner. Somebody told me to say that. Anyway, I'm going to wait more for.
Hi, I'm Chuck Harvey, and the reason why I'm running for the board is I'd like to bring back the openness and open meetings, agendas that have a little bit more detail. And my years of contract procurement in the public sector and the open meeting concepts, and just bringing back what's on the website is welcoming on the websites, and just bring back the openness and the open dialogue that goes with it.
Hi, I'm Blaine Rubish, lot 712-996. Been here going on 4 years. I'll be a good candidate because I was raised that even partial truths, or you twist the truth to fit your narrative, it's still a lie. And if someone's telling me rumors and stuff's getting passed around, I will do my own investigating. I will get to the bottom of it before I make judgments, before I allow people to fill my head full of nonsense, and make sure that the truth, the whole truth, does come out. Thank you.
We do have one other candidate, Brad Midkiff. He is not online at the moment. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware there is another candidate. He's not in the community at the moment. He's traveling, so the hopes were to get him online. It doesn't seem like he's there yet, but if he shows up, we'll be sure to get him on. So like I mentioned, we're going to start off with some questions for the candidates. I'll direct a question to a single candidate, and they can respond. We'll go through some of those, and then we'll open it up to the audience for questions and answers for the candidates themselves. Blaine, you're the last one to talk. Let's start off with you, my friend. What changes would you like to see in the next 3 years for the resort?
Changes. One thing I'm highly disappointed in since I've been here is that we've had a management company here now since day one, so 40 years. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that we've never explored our options. We don't know what we don't know. There's a lot of different other ways that this could be handled. We could have a full-time manager who works directly for Happy Trails, and other employees belong to Homeco. We could have everybody working directly for Happy Trails, or we should look in to see what other options are out there as far as management companies.
Thank you, Blaine. Next question, we'll go with you, Chuck. What clubs are you a member in, and are you active in their meetings and activities?
I belong to the Happy Trails Photography Club, and I also been learning, signed up for the sawmill, so I'm trying to learn some of the equipment. I'm having somebody teaching me how to whittle in one of the committee members. I've been attending the finance committee and the board meetings, and I attended one or two of the DRC meetings to understand the process. Otherwise, I like to put up my inflatables on my lot and watch people go by and talk to them that way.
Perfect. Thank you, Chuck. Marla, how many board meetings have you attended in the past year? Did you participate virtually in any of the meetings during the off-season?
I have not on any of the screens on the computer or the internet, and I've attended a few. I will have to say I got a little disheartened with the previous board that we had. And some of you may know that I actually ran for that board. And when I found out that two of the previous members were rerunning, I just basically gave up my spot because I knew they were winning. So this time I saw a chance to come in. There was a lot that went on, and but don't ever think that I do not care, that I do not follow what's going on. I do. So I can't put a rounded number on it if I need to. I have club meetings as well, so I don't know exactly how many, and that's to be truthful.
Thank you, Marla. We'll go over to John. What do you see as the most pressing need of the resort, and how would you propose the board to address it?
Okay. Well, we're in the middle of implementing the long-range plan, and there were, I think, 6 areas or hotspots, and one of those hotspots was safety. And so we have a lot of speeders. I've seen people doing at least 40, 45 miles an hour. out on the main road here. And so I think we have to tackle that. We have to figure out a way to educate each other and hold each other accountable to drive the speed limits and follow the safety rules that we've got established. You know, our governing documents and policies are our orders. They're written orders that we have to follow. And as residents, you know, we have to follow those too. The board certainly has to follow them. And so that's one of the hot spots that I see. We need to address the speeding and get that under control.
All right, thank you. We'll go back to Blaine. What motivated you to want to join the board? Was there a specific issue or something you'd like to see change? What motivated you to want to join the board? Was there a specific issue or something you'd like to see changed?
What motivated me to run for the board was the fact that there's just too much misinformation being passed around in this association. This could be a much, much quieter, calm, and just pleasant place to live if people would get their information from the source and not pass rumors around to each other and have little coffee clutches and, well, so-and-so said this, so it must be true. Not necessarily. Get your information from the source. Talk to people. Come and confront people. Nobody's going to punch you in the mouth. More than happy to tell you what's actually going on, whatever I know, and if I don't know, I will find out.
Thank you. I was just informed that Brad Midkiff joined us online, so I want to give him a moment to introduce himself and let us know why you're the best candidate for the board of directors.
Well, again, this is Brad Midkiff. I'm on lot 1201. I think that I can make a big difference. I think I can help a lot with what's going on in the resort. I'm a businessman, so I know how businesses are supposed to run financially. And I think I can be a big asset for a lot of the, like the BG&M and some, repairs and growth, because I'm mechanically inclined and I have a mechanical job. So that's why I think that I would be a good suit for it.
All right. Well, thank you, Brad, and we'll get you right into this. I got a question for you. What is your first priority if you are elected?
Well, my first priority is to try to get unity back in the resort. We're all separated, and we really need to come back together as a family. We've been coming down for 13 years, and we've got this separation right now, and we just I want to bring it back together so we all work together, and that we start listening. The board starts listening to the people.
Thank you, Brad. We'll go back to Chuck. What do you see as a concern for our community, and what steps will you take to achieve positive results?
Can you repeat that one more time?
What do you see as a concern for our community, and what steps will you take to achieve positive results?
I think that we just need to make sure we're transparent on any financial or any activities, and also to make sure that if a quote or a bid comes in, that the backup documents are coming through, and that the meetings, the board meetings and this kind of stuff are open and facing instead of a U shape or whatever the last meeting was, where they were facing each other, and just being open and honest.
We'll hop over to Marla. What difference do you plan to make by being on the board?
What difference? So I forgot to say I was in lot 2323. I'm sorry. Well, like I said once before, I am a common sense type of person. I like to look at different things. I like to be able to have more than one contract and one bid on an item. I don't want to go with the same old thing. I will dig like a little gopher, and I will dig and I will find out and I will review all types of documents so I can make it a safe and better place and more affordable place for all of us to live here. Now, again, I'm transparent. I'm transparent with myself. If you have any questions, you ask me. I want to make it a loving space. I won't want us just to be neighbors. I want us to be family, like all of my friends are.
Thank you, Marla. We'll go over to John.
Yes.
What do you think is the 3 attributes an applicant should have, or 3 things they should know to be a good board member?
Attributes or knowledge?
Yeah, or 3 things they should know to be a good board
3
member.
things. I think that a good attribute is to be loving and caring. I think agape love is the definition of looking out what's best for other people. And I try to do that. I'm human and I'm always falling down on that, but I do try to look out for what's best for the community. One of the strengths that I have that I just never really realized until just recently is I'm a connector. I try to connect people, and I really get uptight when people are disconnected. And so I think that's one attribute, agape love and looking out to pull people together. You should know what the rules are. You should know what the rules of engagement are, and that's the code of conduct. You should know what your orders are, and that's the governing documents, including the CC&Rs and the bylaws. Yeah, you should read those, and they're not hard to read. They're very well done, and I congratulate our forefathers and foremothers for the work that they've done. I mean, they're very good documents. And I think you should look at the long-range plan because the community has spoken very clearly. We spent a lot of money to gather that information and assimilate it into a format where we can execute a plan. And so as a candidate, I think you should know what the long-range plan is. So those are the 3 qualities, or 3 bits of knowledge.
Alrighty, we'll go to Brad. What are the responsibilities of the management company?
Wow. Okay. The management company is supposed to assist in the board procuring documents for bidding, also to prove that what we're doing is correct based on the laws. So I feel that the HOA is responsible for that kind of input to the board so they can make an honest and fair judgment on spending our money. The other thing I'd like to do is apologize for being late to the meeting. We're on the road and there's not a lot of Wi-Fi around here. So I apologize for being late.
I think we can let you slide on this one, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Blaine. What do you feel are the differences in and the responsibilities for the roles of management versus the board?
Well, I can answer that fairly easily. The training manual that HomeCo puts out for training board members in Happy Trails clearly states what those responsibilities are. And basically, management works for the board. The board is the CEO of this corporation. Management takes direction. They may be the board of directors, however, or upper management, but they are there to take direction from the board.
Thank you, Blaine. We'll keep going down the line. For Chuck, have you ever served on a committee or on the board of Happy Trails? If so, which one? When? If not, why not? What else have you been involved in?
I have not served on any committee directly. I've just attended the meetings to understand it, the whole process and how the board works and this kind of stuff.
Thank you, Chuck. Marla, what is your number one visual resort improvement? Did I read that one already? No. Oh, repeat it. Sorry. What is your number one visual resort improvement?
Number one visual. I like some of the other ones better. I hope I get to answer those. But as far as the visual, I think we have a beautiful place here right now. I think we've done a lot to it. I don't, and it all also depends on how much money we have. As far as visual, there is one thing. I would like to see a bocce ball court, an actual bocce where I could actually play bocce ball over on the rolling hills where it says you can play bocce ball. You can't play it there. As far as anything else, the tennis courts are beautiful, you guys, and the maintenance take great care of them. Pickleball courts, billiards, we need some new tops in there. The sawmill is a wonderful place, so much knowledge. You guys have stepped it up, and I've noticed that you guys have really been doing some more rock decorating. So I'm not quite sure what other than
Bocce ball.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Alrighty, John, in the same vein, what committee meetings have you attended regularly in the past year? Which ones and how many times?
Wow, you caught me. I haven't been to very many. You mean talk about Happy Trails Committee?
Correct.
I've been to a lot of other committees. I did attend 2 yesterday, and I want to just say how remarkable they were, because I saw the community operating the way it's supposed to operate. Both places that I went, everyone was discussing, and the dialogue was open. The ideas were all accepted by everybody at the table. It was a wonderful thing to see. There was a board member there observing and doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They weren't interfering. They were listening and learning. And we had, in both instances, I think, we had someone representative from the management, and they gave very appropriate input right at the right time. They didn't say what to do. They just stepped in and said, well, would you consider this and this as an option, and think about this. And even I saw some of the board members, candidates there, and they were listening and learning, and we spoke afterwards, and that individual said, I wonder if we can really afford this, telling me that they're thinking. It was just wonderful to see. So the community has wonderful committees, and they're doing wonderful work, and I think we can all see the product of that.
Thank you. And sticking with the committee theme, Blaine, what is the function of committees? I'll get to Brad. I did a little switch.
Well, say it again.
What is the function of committees?
Well, I'm going to follow John's. He stayed seating that time, and I fell playing pickleball the other day and badly bruised my one hip, so it's been painful getting up and down. So I'm going to stay seating also. Job of committees is to gather information. They should be doing a lot of the work to help management as far as getting bids, listening to the people, hashing out what they feel needs to be done for the community, getting input from the residents, and then pushing that forward to the board with their recommendation, so what they feel needs to be done. And we as residents should be getting most of our information on things that are going on or things that are being proposed from those committees, so that when the board gets it, we aren't saying, well, why haven't we heard about this before? Because that information has been out there all along. All you had to do is go to the right source.
Thank you, Blaine. Next one's for Brad. Name one thing you would change about Happy Trails. Why do you want to change it, and how would you go about changing it?
Wow, I got the easy questions. Well, can you repeat the question again, Brad, please?
I thought it was easy.
No, that isn't.
The question is, name one thing that you would change about Happy Trails. Why do you want to change it, and how would you go about changing it?
Well, the first thing I'd like to change is to, like Blaine said, to stop the way people get their information, because that's what's kind of tearing us apart is the rumor mill. I'd like to change to where we all communicate together and get the proper things that are going on for the people, so we are on the same page. And I think if we get that taken care of, we can bring the people back together as a family and work through other issues. But right now we're so departed, we're so separated that we need to do something to make everybody happy. And I think the biggest thing is the transparency. We've been kind of lacking that a little bit, and I think we need to step that up.
Thank you, Brad. Chuck, did you participate in the long-range planning process, and how?
I did not. I attended some of the meetings. I attended a meeting to understand what the long-range planning was, but I did not participate in it.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw a little wrench in this. I'm gonna ask a question to all of you guys, but no repeats on this answer. So it's gonna be a little tricky. I'm gonna be testing you, so just beware. The question is, name one of the Happy Trails governing documents. What is the purpose of this document, and what is the hierarchy of the governing documents? And we'll start with ladies first, Marla. Again, no repeats.
Well, you got the articles of incorporation, which are kind of like the basic layout of the family. You're going to have your CCNRs.
You can just go. You just go with the one.
Pardon?
Just go with the articles, and you can describe the articles.
Well then let me go with sorry, I thought you wanted me to go the whole line. Actually, I think the Arizona Revised Statutes have a lot to do with us, which fall under Title 41 and 33, the most that I can think of right now. 33-1805 and 33-12 something 5. Anyway, when I was in the fire department, that was very, very important, those articles of incorporation. And I think the 1805 is basically the ones regarding how many days you have until you can receive the minutes, if you want to get the minutes. We used to have 3 days. I think this, under Arizona Revised Statute, you can have 10 days. It just basically makes you follow state, federal, and city law inside of all of your other rules and regulations and CCNRs.
All righty, thank you. All right, and we'll go to Brad. Same question, no repeats. Name one of the Happy Trails governing documents, and what is the purpose of this document?
The CCNRs, the purpose of those is to give us our legal guidelines to follow. So I think the CCNRs are very critical for us. so that we stay within the laws and our own personal laws of our community.
We'll go to Blaine next. Same question. Name one of the Happy Trails governing documents and what is the purpose of this document?
Oh, I'll pick the rules and regulations. The rules and regulations are something that the board is allowed to add and make some changes to because they help define and fine tune, I guess is the best way of putting it, what our CC&Rs say. Because somebody wrote those 40 years ago. They made it very difficult to make any changes in them, which by all rights it should be. But the rules and regulations can help clarify some of that and fine tune it.
Thank you. We'll go down the line. Chuck?
Most of them are being repeated, so I'm just going to say the guidelines, like the DCR ones, we're required how our lot's supposed to look like, what kind of items are, so other documents that are broken down specifically, like the DRC requirements that we just passed on, type of lighting and this kind of stuff. To me, that's the ones that most people are worried about, because that's ones, if they modify any of their lot or want to improve it, those are the guidelines, the specific guidelines that go with it.
Thank you, Chuck. And last but certainly not least, John, same question. Name one of the Happy Trails governing documents and what is the purpose of this document?
Are there any left?
There are. There are.
I think the bylaws, I don't remember anybody saying anything about the bylaws, and they're kind of like the governing document that tells us the do's and don'ts and what and defines who we are, gives us clear guidance as to how we can go about carrying out the mission of a community association and looking out for the common areas and the common interests of the community.
All right, that wraps up some of the questions I got. A lot of them were back on repeat. So I'm going to walk around. If anyone in the audience has any questions or would like a question to the candidates, I can come around and we will get your question heard. Just raise your hand, please. Is that a raise?
Julie Allen, Lot 2131. I'm currently the president of the Single Social Club, and we would love to have you all come address our club meeting next Wednesday in NC1 at 10 o'clock.
Well, I hate to jump in here, but I'm not going to have time to do that. I won't be there, but I really wish I was.
That was Brad. Michelle Stoltz, Lot 444. I have one question for the entire board, and then I have a second question. At the March board meeting, Jennifer, our board president, stated HomeCo manages the HTCA funds. And at the last town hall meeting, Steve Funk made a similar statement. I'd like to read to you item 3.15 of our HTCA CC&Rs. It's titled 3.15 Managing Agent. All powers, duties, and rights of the association, the president, or the board, as provided by law and herein, may be delegated to a managing agent under a management agreement, provided, however, that no such delegation shall relieve the association of its obligation to perform such delegated duty. Now, I'd like to ask each candidate to clearly state who you believe is ultimately responsible for the Happy Trails investments and finances. Is it HomeCo or is it the board to which you are running for a position?
I'm not going to answer that question. My answer is the board is ultimately responsible for all the funds and financing.
Thank you.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. The board is responsible to the residents and to the community. Management works for the board.
I'll have to agree with the same thing. The management does handle all the financials, but they do work for the board. And they should also assist in guidelining them in case there are any problems that may show up. That's what we're paying them for.
Our contract clearly states that HomeCo is responsible for all our investments and monitoring of money. So ultimately, we, the residents, board, can give input, but HomeCo is ultimately responsible.
And I would disagree with that. I would say that our CCNRs override that. But that's why I asked the question. I want to know. Now, my second question is directly to you, Blaine. You state in your biography that you have years of experience in HOAs as a president and a treasurer. Now, I'm sure that these other HOAs had codes and restrictions similar to our own CCNRs. So if you had so much experience on an HOA board, can you please explain how it is that you totally ignored Happy Trails CCNRs when you purchased and signed for those two annuities totaling $1 million?
Oh, thank you for that fine example of half-truth and misinformation. You fulfilled the whole thing. Yes, a mistake was made. I currently belong to 5 HOAs. Everybody has different CCNRs. I read the CCNRs when I purchase, before I purchase in any HOA. I don't memorize them. I missed that particular thing, that particular item. When I found it, after going after the annuities and other investments were made, when I found it, I immediately reported it to the board. And over the last 2 years, everything is being done to rectify that situation without costing Happy Trails any money. In fact, feedback has been gotten from numerous lawyers that there's no liability of any kind, nobody can be held liable in a sense that there hasn't been any damages. It's only been a positive thing for Happy Trails. Thank you.
Are there any?
This question's for Blaine also. Isn't it true that you are the recently recalled Board of Director Roberta Ernest's husband? Yes or no?
I didn't understand.
Isn't it true that you are the recently recalled Board of Director Roberta Ernest's husband?
Oh yes, very proudly for 35 plus years.
Thank you. Isn't it also true that you recently resigned from the Finance Committee that invested millions of Happy Trails monies in non-FDIC insured accounts, to which goes against our CCNRs, and at a recorded board meeting, you got up and stated you had not read the CCNRs as you didn't think they were important?
Thank you. Another fine example of half-truths and misinformation. I'm glad you people are bringing that out. No, I never said I didn't read the CCNRs. Let's see, what was all in there? I forgot. What was the rest of that conglomeration? Oh, did I resign? No, there's another half-truth. I did not resign from the Finance Committee. My term ran out, and I decided not to run again. Simple as that.
Jeannie Abbott, 624. I'd like to know from all of you, how many have attended either the HOA Academy here or in another state?
I think that was for all of you guys.
I have not attended. I plan on attending. If I get on the board, I understand there's several classes that can be taken, and that I'm willing to do that on my own time.
I'll take it. I have not gone to the academy, but I've gone above that when I joined, when I was the board member for the fire department, which is a federal. And I learned so much, more than you probably even want to know. But I would be willing to go. That sounds like very interesting. You can never have too much education and learn something new every day.
I'd never been to an HOA academy and nor any training in an HOA, but I love to learn, and seems like a wonderful opportunity to expand yet again the noodle.
I have not attended an academy, but I did when I retired as a certified public procurement officer. So I had continued my education for 20 plus years during that time.
No, I have not attended HOA Academy. I have read the Homeco's training manual for new board members, and I continue to expand my knowledge as often as I can.
Hi, this is Michelle Kavanaugh, Lot 781. And I have a question that I would really like to go back on something that Blaine had said. Sorry about that. Michelle Kavanaugh, Lot 781. I'm going to ask a question of each of the candidates for the board. A question regarding what Blaine had said. He had made a comment that he does about the board being able to make changes to the CCNRs and the regs. And I want clarification. Do you think that the board should have the full control over making these changes without any input or voting by the owners here in Happy Trails? And the other question is, isn't it the responsibility of everybody running for the board to know the CCNRs and follow them, and when in doubt, check it before making any decisions? If you can each answer that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Well, first of all, I did not say that the board would be changing the CCNRs. I said the CCNRs were developed 40 years ago, and it's difficult to change them, and rightfully so. But the rules and regulations can be changed and added to by the board to help define things in the CCNRs, not change anything in the CCNRs.
I can speak to that too. The CCNRs, well, actually the CCNRs started 40 years ago or shortly after that, and they've been modified most recently. But if you read through all of those iterations, you can see how that we have grown and we've modified things. But the board can't modify the CCNRs. They have to be put to a vote of the residents, and only you can change the CCNRs. So you write the orders that we follow, and we follow the orders, and we can't change them.
Well, the board does ultimately have the call to change. That's why you have an elective board. However, we need to listen to you guys. And when you have concerns and you have issues, you definitely need to bring them forward. Bringing them forward individually to one of the board members that you'll have. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get knowledge. Some things I really wish that the community could vote on. I just think some things are really sensitive. And I know we have a lot of people here that have a lot of different ideas. So, but again, all people, oh God. The CCNRs and bylaws are run by the board, but you can also, and that's why you have committees. That's why you have committees to round out, to come up with ideas, bring it to the board works on it, and then they can pass it.
I feel that there shouldn't be, I know that the board can change the rules. They can't change the CCNRs, but I wish that we could all vote on what, and not a formal vote, but have input on those rule changes. We have rules and rules and rules, but we don't enforce the rules and rules. So we can't really be adding more that are not going to be listened to. So I feel that the whole community needs to be a part of that rulemaking in order to make it so that everybody's going to follow it and not just whatever the board decides. I just think that we're a tool for the community. It's not our own way to make changes. I think it's important that the community is involved in every change and every decision that's made in our facility.
I believe that the CCNRs are really guided by the owners. The board is there is the sounding board. So any changes that go with that should come from the owners themselves and then presented to everybody through the board and voted by the members themselves.
Can I?
Yes, and to finish my answer and answer the rest of your question, no, I don't believe the board should be able to change CCNRs by themselves. We need input from the residents, but one of the disappointing things I noticed from living here, less than 14% of the people responded to the long-range planning survey. Less than 14%. Now the board has to decide, do we listen to that 14% only because they're the ones that took the interest and made the responses? Or do we listen to another group who just disagrees with everything that's going on? They have to balance that. The board has to be very careful to balance that because everybody's concerns need to be taken into account.
May I? I'm sorry. I don't know why I was thinking CCNRs, not the board. CCNRs are basically, am I being told to stop? No? Oh, I got to go closer. Ugh, I don't like that. We have our bylaws, but the CCNRs are basically the foundation that the board has to enforce. So the bylaws are what the board can change.
All right, we got another question over here.
Steve Brandon, lot 338. This question's for Blaine. When we first started this meeting, each candidate talked about bringing the community back together, all the strife going on. What makes you think that you running for the board is going to do that, number one? Number two, you're never in the park. I would like to see people running for the board that are here, and I see you shaking your head. It's that kind of attitude that's really pissed a lot of people off. So tell me why we should vote for you, and how is that going to bring the community back together?
Steve, I know you're never going to vote for me. I don't know why. That's your prerogative. The people who want integrity and someone on the board who's going to find out which are lies and which are truth and try to do the best for the overall community, they're the ones that will vote for me.
Mike Becker, lot number 87. In the circles that I run in, a lot of times we've been talking about safety, and you brought it up a little bit in this meeting. And what I've heard, the people that I've talked to, is stop signs should go up, stop signs should go down, raised or lowered. There should be flashing stop sign. There should be rumble strips. My question to each one of you members, and I'm going to start with you, Chuck. What would you recommend as far as how to improve the safety on our streets at Happy Trails?
I believe like for speeding and this kind of stuff, we should be looking at what you were recommending, rumble strips or kind of what they call a rolling speed dip bumps and this kind of stuff where they're still low enough. The city of Surprise has very good drawings and engineering for fire departments and this kind of stuff. It's usually a space in between so they can go through. I do believe that we need to have bigger signs, and standardize is what all the other utility companies do. And then also, as I know Brad's working on, is that we need to keep those stripes, the road stripes and this kind of stuff, up to date and in bright colors. And for the safety, like I live over in Section 3 where we've been having the fireworks and you know, I don't like getting woke up at 9:30, 10 or midnight with fireworks in the Gulf. I think we need to work with Jason on the process that finding out who's going in or who's going over the fence or going along, because it seems like every bikes and this kind of stuff are stolen along the golf course. So be able to try to work with him to put more fencing in.
I believe that was directed to all the candidates.
I know I spoke with the City of Surprise Police, so we cannot patrol ourselves. We cannot do anything of that sort. But any of that should be, if it comes to I want to call them speed bumps, or I don't know what those things are, Dromo strips? Yeah, rumble strips. And I know that the back gate is constantly being knocked down and broken. So that is also something that needs to be talked to with the people of the community, because it will affect each and every one of you and any of your guests. But we also have to watch out for the golf carts too, besides our vehicles.
Well, what I have to say, you guys aren't going to be happy with me, but we need to grow up and start thinking of other people besides ourselves when we're out driving our golf carts and bicycles and all the other, you know, your cars and everything. We have to because there's nothing we're going to be able to do in our establishment there to stop the people from, I mean, bigger stop signs aren't going to do it. Moving them up, moving them down aren't going to do it. We just need to do it ourselves. We need to grow up. And as far as the fireworks and everything that's on hole 12, which is right in front of my house, I talked to the assistant police chief, and he wanted me to send him an email to have him have patrols go through there at that certain time of night. They're willing to do that. But unfortunately, after I talked to him, we went like 7 or 10 days without anything happening. So I didn't feel like I wanted to waste their time. I don't want to, be the sky's falling kind of guy. I want to be that when we are having the problem, let them know, and then they will be happy to come out. He was very, very accommodating for me. The only thing that they can't do is they can't come out and deal with the speed or any of the other things. That's strictly up to us. And we need to do it ourselves and start thinking of our neighbors and other people that are walking, because there's a lot of people out there that walk, and we need to be really concerned about that. Okay, I'm done off my speech box.
To answer the question, I think if you're looking for me to give you a recommendation, I could make a joke and say, hey, why don't we just solve the problem and raise the speed limit to 45? So wait a minute. Then you'd say, wait a minute. That's not safe. Okay, well, how fast would you think is safe? 30? No, that's too fast. 25? We got a lot of pedestrians and some of us don't move very fast. How about 20? Okay, 20 miles an hour, that sounds safe. Well, then why don't we drive 20 miles an hour? That's the safe thing to do. But the good news is we have an ad hoc committee working on this, and I was listening to them yesterday. They have really great ideas. They've got great leadership. They've got great people working on that. There's some experienced people. They're retired police officers, and so they're going to come up with some good ideas to share with the community. And I think we're going to make some progress, but it's really hard because we can't enforce. We don't have a hammer to hit anybody with. So we have to work on making each other feel accountable to each other and think of other people. What's best for them? Am I going to save 3 seconds by driving faster and put somebody else at peril? So
we have to make a decision as a community. I fully believe that the people who have trouble obeying the laws are a minority in here. The only way we're going to really stop that, and expand a little bit on what Brad said, it comes down to individual integrity, for one thing. Another thing is we got to decide, do we want to stay a gated community and keep the streets ours, or do we want to turn them over to somebody who can actually enforce the laws on those streets? Or do we want to hire somebody, put out and pay the expense for people that are allowed to enforce our laws? Patrol is strictly patrol. They're here to keep an eye on things. They have no enforcement capability. So we have to decide as a community if we're going to let a minority rule us, or we're just going to have to keep pressure on to make them, that minority, step up and obey the laws.
Yeah, Terry Bader, lot 953. Question about the chuck wagon. We spent close to $100,000 to improve it over the last couple of years. Do you think it was money well spent? And do you think it is something that was in favor for, done, in other words, to benefit most of the community and not just a few? Thank you.
wow, that's a tough question. Because I volunteered in the chuck wagon for years and years, and it was just a wonderful experience working, elbow to elbow with people. And I come from a culture of volunteering, and I enjoy doing that. But are we benefiting from having a restaurant here? I think we are. I think we've been subsidizing them for, you look at how much rent they have been paying. So we're kind of been subsidizing them in a way. So I hope that the rent is going to go up. But we've improved our facilities. We're making use of a restaurant here. So it's a kind of a win-win. So if we get a return, a few years ago, we wanted to shut the chuck wagon down because it wasn't making any money. It was losing money. So we don't want to keep losing money through that venue. We want to get some return, but we want it to be a win-win. We want him to be successful. We want a good restaurant here, good food, good accommodations, and we want a return on investment that we're making in that facility.
And I feel that if I'm answering your question right, is that, yeah, we are subsidizing, but the new lease has been let out, and that his rent has gone up to a fairly satisfactory, but to know if it's actually a benefit to us, that's going to take probably another year to finally decide on the financing. If we are still subsidizing him to the extent that we have been, then obviously that's not what's supposed to happen. But as long as he's doing what he's supposed to do, then I think in the long run we should be making money. But that jury is still out until probably the end of next season.
Okay, I was a volunteer in the chuck wagon, but with Chef Peters. I tried to volunteer at the same, probably when you were doing it, when it was all volunteer for us. I think it's a great idea that we have a restaurant here, especially year round when there are seniors here, and some of them are alone And it's a great way for them to be able to get a meal. In fact, I worked up a volunteer list for Chef Peters that people would deliver meals to those that live alone. Now, I was a little taken back by the cost. However, I know that the previous board they put things in certain contracts that I don't know if anybody else saw it. I did not. But they gave him a certain amount of time. They would do something. They kept putting him, kind of on the edge of his seat. There was a lot that was missing and ruined after the two brothers moved out. And I was there, so I saw it. I think Chef Peters is trying to do his best with what he's got. I will say I was a little shocked at the price. I will say that. I have to say that. But it has turned out well. I think he's doing very good. The Sawmill guys have made that beautiful counter in there. Bar, excuse me, forgive me. I don't drink, so. Well, anyway, so my reasoning behind supporting Chef Peters is I'd like to see him, and because I live here year round, and I got COVID one year and I had nobody to get me food. So if I had somebody like this here, that would have really helped me. But I can't do it just for me. It does have to be, all the people have to enjoy it.
I'm like Brad, I'm still open. I am still waiting for a decision to see how profitable it is. I know that at one point there was a survey that had gone out and people asked if they wanted somebody to come in or the volunteers, and that decision was, changed, from the survey. But at this point, I'm a full-time also, and last year it was nice to have the restaurant open. I mean, there was times that were only myself and my partner there. That so we felt that at least it was open, and during the summer where more and more people are here full time. But now that his rent's changed because now he has these alcohol license and this kind of stuff. The other concern that I have is I know that everybody's insurance is raised, but it seemed like our park, because he's got a liquor license, but we also have to maintain a insurance to cover from them to and from. So I'm still waiting for that jury to come out to see if we actually are going to be breaking even or not.
All right, I'm going to practice what I preach. Does anybody out there know what's actually been spent on the chuck wagon so far, a real number? Becca, you're a former treasurer. Can you give us an accurate number? I look at the chuck wagon as an amenity. I mean, whatever we spent in there stays with Happy Trails. That facility, any equipment we replace, anything stays with Happy Trails. We don't look for the post office, mail center to make a profit. We're happy to have it here, so we don't have to go down to the post office, so we don't have to put up with a bank of boxes on every corner or have mailboxes in our yards. That's an amenity, and we pay for it. And I'm happy to have a restaurant in here. And to me, it's an amenity. If it just breaks even, I'll be thrilled.
Hi, my name's Jack Beshin of Lot 900. I have a question for several of the people. John, are you married?
Yes.
Is your wife going to have any influence on you if you get on the board?
You want me to get in a lot of trouble, don't you?
Well, we asked it of one person that's
Okay.
running for the board. I'd like an answer from the other people.
No. we are two individuals and we make up our minds. We have a lot of common interests and common beliefs, but I use what I call ODA for my decision making. I observe, I orient what I observe to a truth or a fact or a document that gives me direction. I make my decision and take my action.
Good, thank you. Marla, can you answer the same question?
You're sitting right there. So I was widowed in 21. So no, I'm not married.
Okay.
Okay. But when I was on the fire department board and on homeowners boards, my husband did not do anything. He was, God bless him, he supported me, but he would not be on a committee. And I do not feel it's hard to get volunteers sometimes, but it would be nice to see them not in a financial situation. Maybe the safety, maybe something else. Okay, is that enough? Is that all you wanted to hear?
Thank you. Chuck, can.
Sure. I have a partner for
Okay.
30 years, and yeah, we do discuss things back and forth, but no, the final decision is always mine. His comment to me when I asked him if I wanted to be on, to run for the board, is that he said, that'll be great because you're going to be home less.
Brad, can you answer that question? Are you part of?
Yep, I'm here. Yes, I am married, been married for 51 years. And I listen to everybody. They all have input. And so my decision process is from all the people in our facility, because I look at them as part of my family and that they should have a say in it. And that's what we have to push the most right now is re-include the people that pay for the park and that live there, that they need to be a part of the process for making any kind of decisions.
Fine, thank you.
Bob Fall, Lot 496. One of my, he already answered it. He answered early. He was first. That's why he asked the question. Oh, I thought he asked the question because you had already answered. I'm sorry.
No,
I was on the same page.
I don't know if he doesn't want me to answer or what. Brad kind of answered for me, I guess, so it really was no big deal. I mean, every owner in here who's willing to come up and talk to me will have some influence. Simple as that.
Okay, let's try this again. Bob Fall, Lot 496. One of my pet peeves, and we've touched on it a couple of times over the last few years, is the secrecy that the board has in the past has demonstrated. I've met with the current board president and vice president, and they've assured me, at least, that they are not going to do that in the future. And as a matter of fact, at the last meeting, I believe, Jennifer said something to that effect, said that they were not going to do that. If indeed something like that would happen again, I'd like to know from each of you if you would let the residents know that something was decided in secret. If you go back through and look at the CC&R changes, the changes that were made last year, go back to the Chuck Wagon, the Bison Brothers, there's nothing in the minutes. There's nothing that's been done at a public meeting that said, here's what we're considering, here's what we're doing. Same with the investment option. The only thing I was able to find was one email that transferred between a couple of people that said we were considering this. So I would like to know from each of you if you will commit to making it known that something has been done secretly that shouldn't have been. And that's a state Arizona law, right? And I presented that to the board here a while back. So that's an Arizona law. So you're actually required to do that. So I would like a commitment that each of you would do that.
I'm going to answer that first. And I'm sorry, I'm talking to, yes, I would. because I wouldn't want it to happen to me because I did not like it when I saw it. I even talked to a gentleman that said he got a $5,000 or $6,000 stipend for bringing the Bison Brothers in.
Yes.
Yes, I would. Because I was a probate procurement person for over 20 years, my whole life I had to document anything. If there was a mistake done on a contract or a bid, I had to document it because I had to stand in front of either a school board or the city council and explain it, because they would get the rumors and I would have to justify it. So I would go back to that same thing and document everything. If there is any question, I can go back and have people can look at the notes from the meeting, or I would make sure that the minutes were redone and done correctly based on the information that we got.
Well, simple yes, but I'm disappointed to hear that you couldn't find anything on some of that stuff. I don't know. I haven't looked. All I know is that all meetings are open to every resident. All meetings are broadcast live from the committees. So you have the option of whether you watch them or not. I get my information off of the blasts that come out. I know everything is an honor. The only closed meetings is when the board has their executive meetings and they're discussing stuff that's to keep private about individual owners, and that should stay that way. But other than that, everything's open.
Can I say one more thing?
Well, hold on, let's give Brad a chance to
Sorry, Brad.
No, that's fine. I feel the same way, is that the closed sessions are only for private, to keep other people's lives private that may or may not have fines against them. It's their chance to stand before the board. Other than that, everything should be transparent above that. There should be no deals made outside of our DRC, or our board meetings. And if there is anything that's been discussed that people should know, I'm the first one out the door to explain it to them. So I don't think anything should be left out, because it pertains to everybody there.
I cannot just say. So as a previous fire board secretary and president, being that I was upheld by the open meeting law, I was upheld by the Attorney General. So if I had ever done anything wrong, or I did anything wrong with the board, I could be turned in to the Attorney General and possibly fined if they had seen anything, which never happened. But so yes, I know how to take minutes, and I make sure that everything is in there that is said.
Are there any other questions?
Just to clarify, Blaine, your statement where you said you serve on 5 different HOAs, what were they, please, their names and the dates?
I didn't say I served on 5 different HOAs.
Yes, you did.
I said I belong to 5
Sorry,
different
okay,
HOAs.
I'm sorry. What were they, please?
I don't see where that's any of your business.
Oh.
I mean, why would it
Alrighty
be?
then.
I own
Thanks for
own
your
different
integrity.
properties around the country. What's your business what those properties are?
Any other questions, concerns? We are doing another Meet the Candidates tomorrow at 6 p.m. Of course, everyone is welcome. If there is nothing else, candidates, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Thank you all for attending and participating, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m.
And I have more information outside if anybody would like to get to know me or get it. I'm selling now.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.